don't use the strait. We don't. The United States. We don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved. But it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy.
Trump's still pressuring countries like China to assist with opening the Strait of Hormuz. China looks like it wants to sit this one out, although they want to make it look like they are sitting this one out. Beijing could see the war in Iran two very different ways. It could be a wake-up call or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There's stress from them because Iran's oil supply has been choked off. It may also be the perfect opportunity to take Taiwan. As we speak, the USS Tripoli, stationed in Japan, is still steaming toward the Middle East, which leaves an opening in the Pacific that China could easily exploit. With us now, from the Gatestone Institute, senior fellow, U.S. China relations analyst, one of, I think, the smartest people on television for this, Gordon Chang. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Warning to China or an opportunity for Xi?
Well, it really depends on how this turns out. China has a lot to gain, but it has an extraordinary amount to lose. But the thing that is making the Chinese leaders apprehensive, I think, is that this is not in their control. However this turns out, they are largely bystanders. And that means I think that they are very nervous because they don't know what Trump's going to do, but they do know Trump is unpredictable. And they also know that Trump has been moving against their interests across the world. So I'm sure they don't like what he's doing in the Persian Gulf.
Right. And they certainly don't like where oil prices are. I think it's interesting that overtly they're saying all of these sort of very passive things. Covertly, they're doing a lot more. What is the game plan for the Chinese to exploit what is clearly a divided America?
Well, what they're going to do is try to mess in the elections. They always do that in one way or another. But the other thing, of course, is they want to roil the American public because they believe that they can divide the United States, and they've been very successful at it. So they probably believe that they should continue that strategy. The problem for them, though, is that as time progresses, more and more people are seeing China as malign rather than China as a solution to any problem. So regardless of how they are able to divide the American public, I think that they are on the losing end of the narrative in the United States.
Well, certainly confronting China is one of the very few things that most Republicans and Democrats can agree on. Not everybody, but clearly most. There is a question, though, of whether or not America is fully understanding of how, I think, exploitive China is, how dangerous they are, how brazen they are. This came across just a couple of hours ago. ABC News confirmed that there was groups of 10 and 12 drones overflying Barksdale Air Force Base. For those who don't know Barksdale, it is down in Louisiana. It's home of the B-52s. It's also home to a lot of America's nuclear weapons. These drones overflew the base. They had, quote, non-commercial radio characteristics and were not susceptible to jamming. You care to offer a bet on whether these were Chinese drones or not?
They probably were because they're obviously not hobbyist drones. And we know that, as your map just showed, there's a Chinese party with connections with the Communist Party who owns properties at both the north and the south ends of Barksdale, which is a critically important base because it's the home of U.S. Air Force Global Strike that controls two of the three legs of America's nuclear triad. And it is a vulnerable base, as are many of our bases. And for China to do this at this particular time, I think really shows that they are brazen right now, and they might not be deterrable. And that, of course, is going to be, you know, we got wars everywhere.
Well, hold on. You just said, Gordon, I just got to stop you. I got 45 seconds. When you say they are not deterrable, that's terrifying to me.
Yes, we know that there's turmoil in the Communist Party. And when there ever is a situation where the party is not stable, it means that the normal American power may not be able to stop the Chinese from doing something or other. I don't think they're going to start hostilities with an invasion of the main island of Taiwan, but they could do something really dangerous in the South China Sea, for instance.
And they could probably also, if they're flying drones over our B-52s, it would not be hard to have one of those drones that drop a hand grenade nearby. Scary time.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.